this lecture, we'll consider professionally applied project assessment criteria. So let's dwell on the problem of this theme. First of all, the problem of evaluating research projects and developments has always been quite acute for the scientific community. And now its relevance is only increasing. So educational project is a project implemented to solve specific tasks in the field of ensuring and developing professional competences and the qualifications. This is due to not only to the increased interest of researchers in the scientific results of their work, but also to the introduction of various forms of self-financing and self-financing into the work of research institutions. So currently, scientific activity, as you know, is associated with the scientific research. Fruitfulness or new knowledge has its own laws, and any scientific research can be carried out in three main directions. The first direction is about for the knowledge of new phenomena discovered in the course of development of corresponding field of human knowledge. The second one is about for the explanation of previously unknown facts that a person faces in the course of his life and the work in the surrounding world. And the third one is about for the disclosure of the essence of the contradictions of old ideas about known facts as with new data that refute their traditional understanding. And the task of our research is not to find the universal criteria for evaluating scientific projects. We try to identify the criteria that would be most optimal for the selection and the evaluation of educational projects, including professional and significant projects of students and young teachers. As you know, an educational project is a project implemented to solve scientific specific tasks in the field of ensuring and developing professional competences and the qualifications. So in accordance with it, we will discuss the types of project at school. So the first type is about mono-subject project. It's a project within the framework of one academic subject, academic discipline, and it fits perfectly into the class system. And the second one, we are going to consider the inter-subject project. It's about a project involving the use of knowledge in two or more subjects. It's more often used as an adjunct to scheduled activities. And the third one is an over-subject project. It's an extra subject project that's carried out at junctions of areas of knowledge and it goes beyond the school subjects. It's also used as a supplement to educational activities, and it's of the nature of research. And the project is focused on the real product, but the production of the product is always the project implementation. And continuing, before we talk about the criteria for evaluating the project activity of students, we will give it in general description. The project activity of students, we can say PATH, is highly motivated independent research and the cognitive labor activity of students focused on the creation of an educational project performed under the guidance of a teacher. In the process of PATH, students form certain properties and the qualities of personality, which together, when developed, allow them to implement a project approach to any activity. And in general, the student gaining experience in project activities also gains experience in search of creative activity, which is an integral element in the structure of the content of education. It should be noted that in the proposed methodology for assessing the path, the specific properties and the qualities of the student's personality are evaluated through their external manifestations during the implementation and the protection of the project. Therefore, when developing criteria for the evaluation of a remote control, its various aspects and components are considered, and a different set of criteria is proposed for each. Any pedagogical activity is focused on positive changes in the student's personality, more specifically on the increment of knowledge, the acquisition of skills, changes in the level of development of personal qualities. And based on this, we will try to determine what kind of result the project method assumes. To do this, you'll have to go a little deeper into the terminology. And the evaluation of project activities is carried out according to various criteria. And the first criteria is about criteria for evaluating the implementation of the project according to the technology of project activity. And the second criteria, it's about for the protection of the project, evaluated by the content and the ownership of the material of the submitted project. And it should be noted that the preparation of evaluation criteria is very subjective, since the teacher can either add and or remove evaluation criteria based on the level of students' learning and the scale of project being implemented. So here we can see the criteria for evaluating students' project activities. So the previous criteria should be continued, and here we can see the assessment of students' project activities, which means here first thing, process should be assessed, should be evaluated. Here working on the project, it's a main part. So the second thing which should be assessed, it's about the result of the project. So this is the second criteria for evaluating the work on the project. So here we will discuss about the criteria for evaluating the product of project activities. So the first important thing which should be included in your product is the completeness of the project plan implementation. It's about the level of implementation of the original goal, requirements in the resulting project, whether all tasks were solved. And the criteria for evaluating the design of the project work. Here you can see the 5 important criteria to evaluate the design of the project work. So criteria for evaluating the presentation of the project work or product. Here the main criteria should be contained.